My artisan collection, yeah, that's what I do in the hobby. How many do I have? We don't ask that question anymore. That's a question I don't answer anymore. Today's keyboard that we're going to be looking at is the Luminkey. They've had a few others, but today we're looking at the 65%. They did send this out to me. I have the red colorway. It's actually available right now. It comes in 4 colors. So you have Anno Black, Anno Red, Anno Silver, and then you have E Creamy White. And then you can buy bare bones or pre-built. In terms of the switch that comes with, these are Sylvia switches, which is manufactured by Gateron. They are linear. Top is nylon, bottom nylon, stem is palm. It has an operating force of 45. The default plate only supports one layout, or the default layout. But if you decide to get like FR4 PC or Alu, the extra plates do support multiple layouts. The one I have is pre-built. We're gonna see how it is outside of the box, or how it is pre-built, and then we'll swap the plates out and see all that jazz. It's a little different review today. It definitely is already made. But I do have the red colorway. They gave me the default keycaps, but they also gave me a spare in case I decide to go on a different layout for the Alu plate. Let's see what else is in here. So we have more keys, a cable, we have the tools, an extra switch. Assembly by Dan. Thanks, Dan. Okay, so this is to teach you how to use like the wireless Bluetooth mode, right? Okay, so this has already been pre-built, but as you guys can see, this is a 65%. You do have this little badge right here with an indicator. Here's the side, here's the back. So you do have the 4 feet. You do have this little accent on the weights as well. And then in terms of case screws, you have the 4 on top, you have the 4 on bottom, so a total of 8. Centered USB port. Here's the front. So this board is gasket mounted, and it will start at 139 for bare bones. Pre-built is 179. But let's listen to what it sounds like out of the box. So first impressions, it's not bad out of box. The alphas are very loud compared to the rest of the board. I don't know if that's because of the keycap sets. Spacebar is high pitched, but stabilizers seem fine, honestly. It does have foam, so you can hear that. I'm curious to see how this would sound with different keycaps. Let's go ahead and take apart the board, and then we'll take out the foam. The keycaps are fine. The font is a little strange to me. If you look at the F and the T, you know what they're trying to say. Like, you know what it says, but font just seems a little off or strange to me. I think it's because the lines for like the F and the T are just so tiny. It kind of looks like it says all from far away, but you can kind of see the tiny little lines. I'd say it's not bad, but if you're being like super nitpicky, the lines just kind of disappear on some of the keys. If you go with the default plate, the PC plate, it's one set layout, and they use plate mount stabs. If you get the extra plates, so like the aluminum, you can do screw and stabs in different layouts. The LED indicator for this part up here does have this little gasket that you can put on the PCB, and there is a cutout on the case for it. It does have this internal battery cover right here. It uses a ribbon cable to connect the PCB. The LED is built into the PCB, so the sides do not have walls, so I'm guessing that's all from the top piece. This is the battery cover. You have the 5 screws covering it. This cutout is for the PCB, I'll show you, so kind of will look like this. And then here is the top piece. It does have this blocker for the arrows to separate it. This piece is screwed in, so you can see the 2 screws keeping in this accent piece, and then this little diffuser. So these are the dumbbells. So you do have the 1, 2, 3, 4 5, 6, 7, 8. So front, top, front, the bottom. The bottom case does have the cutouts for the dumbbell gaskets, and it fits pretty snug, so. My uncle told me that my aunt watches all my YouTube videos religiously when they come out. She'll just like come home and like I'll be on their TV. And yeah, it's like every story I post, she'll like heart and she'll like it. And yeah, she's like one of my biggest fans. And I'm just like of course I was like, wow. But I was also like, oh no, because I curse a lot. I'm pretty impressed with it. I got it pre-assembled and it sounded fine. It did have all the foam, so here's all the foam that comes with it. PE foam, you have your plate foam, and then your case foam. I think if you're looking for that type of sound and getting it pre-built, that's already ready for you to go. So I've never heard of these switches before, but these made the alpha sound really loud. The reason why I used different switches was because I don't think you can get these anywhere else. And so I wanted to use different switches so people could hear what it sounded like. So bare bones 139 or 140, and then pre-built it is 179 or 180. You're essentially getting switches and keycaps for $40 more, right? So if it's not within your budget to get different switches and keycaps, then getting the pre-built makes more sense because you get all of that for $40 more, right? Bare bones, though, you do have more freedom and you don't have to like disassemble, reassemble it. But I will say pre-built, the build quality was fine. I got a card that said this board was assembled by Dan, and I think Dan did a great job. Thank you, Dan. Dan. So on the PCB, it supports split backspace. It has ISO. You could split the left. You can do 7U or 6.25 down here. This can be wireless too. It does have this external weight, but then internally it also has a battery cover. But overall, pretty solid board in my opinion. Yeah, I would say this would be a strong competitor against like the Zoom 65. The Zoom 65 just has like so many more like customization options compared to this one, but I think the finish on this one is much better than from what I've seen on the Zoom's 65 so far. The anode drive is just very consistent. This does use like the dumbbell gasket, which I think is better than an adhesive, but that's just like a preference thing. I think my only critique would be, it is kind of weird that they didn't just default use the PCB mount stabs, but I'm sure there's a reason, like logistically plate mount sabs might just be easier, but it might be a little confusing for the buyer to be like, well, it comes default PC and then I have to get a different PC plate if I want to do like an alt layout. Thank you Luminkey for sending it out to me, and thank you Olma, thank you for reaching out to me. All right, that's the board.